The Las Vegas Raiders made some notable roster moves over the past couple of days, and it's definitely worth breaking down what these decisions might mean for the team moving forward. Just over the weekend, the Raiders signed the players, only to decide shortly after that they would move on from both of them. If you missed that news because you were busy enjoying your Sunday, this breakdown will catch you up and give you some insight into what the Raiders are aiming for in this preseason. First, let's talk about Kawaan Baker, a wide receiver who was signed by the Raiders recently. Baker was a 7th-round draft pick out of South Alabama, a smaller school that doesn't usually get a lot of attention on the national stage. He was originally drafted by the New Orleans Saints and has bounced around quite a bit during his time in the NFL. Over the last few years, he's been part of practice squads for several teams, including the Packers, Eagles, Patriots, and Saints. He's technically been on for NFL rosters, but has only appeared into games and recorded a single tackle, no catches to speak of. That said, Baker's path hasn't been straightforward, and he's spent a lot of time on practice squads, which can sometimes be an indicator that a player is still trying to find his footing in the league. But what stands out about Baker is his athleticism and physical traits. He's 6'1" and weighs around 110 pounds, which is a solid frame for a wide receiver who the Raiders seem to want to use as a field stretcher. The Raiders currently have a strong group of wide receivers at the top, but after their top 5, here are plenty of questions. Names like Tommy Milad have not really made a strong case to be among the top receivers, and there's even a possibility that players like Alex Bachman or Philip Dorsett might be ahead of him on the depth chart. Baker, with his physical tools, could be a player who adds some vertical threat and contributes on special teams, which is an important role for players trying to make the roster. Chip Kelly's offense, which the Raiders are running, heavily emphasizes stretching the field vertically. It's about pushing defenses back and opening up underneath routes and those 2 tight end sets that have become a staple in their offense. Baker's speed and agility could make him a useful weapon in this system, especially as a special teams contributor. According to scouting reports, he ran a 10-yard split in 1.49 seconds at the combine, showing he has the burst to separate from defenders. He's also described as having fluid feet and natural athleticism, which are important traits for any receiver hoping to make an impact. While his hands were considered average, and he needs to adjust to facing professional-level cornerbacks, his athletic traits make him a player worth taking a look at during training camp and preseason games. The Raiders seem to value electric athletes who can help not only on offense but also on special teams. Whether that means returning kicks or punts or covering those plays, Baker fits that mold well, which is likely why they brought him in. He adds a different dimension to the receiving corps, which currently has some players more focused on short and intermediate routes, and others who are more polished but less explosive. Baker's ability to stretch the field could create mismatches and give quarterback Geno Smith more options. DOWNFIELD. Now, moving on to the second signing, Alberto Ogunbamila, known simply as Alberto. This is a tight end who the Raiders also picked up recently. Standing 6'5" and weighing 160 pounds, Alberto has the size and speed combination that made him a 4th-round pick in the NFL draft. He was drafted by the Denver Broncos and has since played for a few teams, including the Philadelphia Eagles and the Indianapolis Colts practice squad, before landing with the Raiders. Over the course of his career, he has appeared in 30 games and started 7, collecting over 500 yards and 4 touchdowns on 54 receptions. For a player of his size, his 40-yard dash time of 4.49 seconds is impressive and speaks to his athletic ability. That kind of speed in a tight end can be a real weapon in the passing game, especially when combined with his ability to make contested catches and his knack for scoring touchdowns. Scouts have noted his wide frame helps him shield defenders, and his ability to leap, twist, and make circus catches makes him a dynamic threat in the red zone. However, there are also areas where he needs to improve, including his blocking and consistency in route running. Some have questioned his competitiveness and toughness on the field, which is critical in a physical position like tight end. The Raiders currently have a strong tight end group, with players like Brock Bowers and Mayer leading the charge. Ian Thomas also continues to impress during training camp and in the mock games. Alberto is competing for a roster spot in what is shaping up to be a very competitive tight end room. The Raiders have shown a tendency to use a hybrid receiver tight end approach, especially in 2 tight end sets that give them flexibility and mismatches on offense. Albert O's speed and size give him a chance to carve out a role, especially if he can prove to be reliable in both receiving and blocking duties. It's interesting to look back at scouting reports from when Albert O was coming out of college. Analysts saw him as a player with the ability to change tempo in his routes and separate from defenders with his speed. His ability to score touchdowns frequently made him stand out as well. At the same time, his route running was sometimes mechanical, and he didn't always show the necessary aggressiveness as a blocker. For the Raiders, who pride themselves on a tough, competitive mentality, Albert O will have to prove he fits that mold to stick around. These moves reflect what the Raiders are trying to do as they prepare for the upcoming season and preseason games. The addition of Baker and Albert O shows they are looking for athletic players who can contribute in various ways, whether it's stretching the field on offense or making an impact on special teams. On the flip side, the Raiders also decided to move on from two players: Pat Conroy, an undrafted tight end, fullback hybrid known for his athleticism, and Kyle Phillips, a player signed early in the offseason but who didn't seem to make enough of an impression to secure a spot on the roster. Conroy was notable for testing extremely well in athletic drills coming out of a smaller school, but the Raiders might have felt he wasn't quite polished enough in certain areas of the game to keep him around. Bringing in Albert O, who has more NFL experience and a more refined skill set, could be seen as an upgrade or at least a more reliable option for the team's depth at tight end. Kyle Phillips' release came after reports suggested he was on the roster bubble, despite his connection to Chip Kelly from their time together at UCLA. Phillips didn't seem to bring enough to the table athletically or in practice to convince the Raiders to keep him. The team seems confident in players like Alex Bachman, who has been impressing in the slot receiver role and may have taken over the spot Phillips was expected to compete for. Bachman's ability to contribute immediately and his fit in the offense likely helped seal Phillips' fate, with preseason just around the corner. These moves highlight the Raiders' strategy: stock the roster with versatile athletes who can fill multiple roles, contribute on special teams, and adapt to Chip Kelly's fast-paced vertical offense. The upcoming games will be crucial for players like Baker and Albert O to prove they belong and can contribute, especially in those two tight end sets that Kelly favors. It's a crowded field, but the Raiders are looking for players who embody their competitive mindset and can help elevate the team's performance on the field. As the Las Vegas Raiders continue their preparations for the upcoming NFL season, the decisions they make now will shape the team's identity and competitiveness throughout the year. Beyond the initial signings and releases of Kawan Baker and Albert Ogunbamila, the Raiders are navigating a complex landscape of talent evaluation, coaching philosophy, and roster construction. Understanding the deeper implications of these moves requires a closer look at the Raiders' overall strategy, the challenges faced by players fighting for roster spots, and how the team's culture and system influence every choice on and off the field. The Raiders have embraced a fast-paced, aggressive offensive scheme under head coach Josh McDaniels, complemented by coordinator Chip Kelly's innovative play calling and an emphasis on maximizing speed and athleticism. This has led to a roster that prioritizes versatility, adaptability, and explosiveness. It's not enough for a player to just be skilled in one aspect of the game anymore. They have to be multidimensional. For example, wide receivers and tight ends are expected not only to run crisp routes and make plays in the passing game, but also to contribute on special teams and demonstrate blocking ability when called upon. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Las Vegas Raiders. And don't be shy, drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Whispers are swirling around the NFL landscape as reports begin to emerge that DK Metcalf, the dynamic wide receiver formerly of the Pittsburgh Steelers, may be on the verge of a monumental shift in his career. The buzz started when insiders hinted that Metcalf, who has been a pivotal figure in the Steelers' offense, is eyeing a fresh start. Rumors are intensifying that he could be finalizing a mega contract with the Las Vegas Raiders, a move that would send shockwaves through the league. The speculation centers not just on his departure from Pittsburgh, but the sheer magnitude of the deal proposed by the Raiders. Rumored to be one of the most lucrative for a wide receiver in recent memory, fans and analysts alike are debating how this potential blockbuster signing could reshape both franchises, sparking excitement and questions about future dynamics. If true, this signing would represent a bold gambit by the Raiders, aiming to bolster their receiving corps and signal their intention to aggressively pursue championship contention. In the coming seasons, the narrative has gained momentum with sources close to the situation revealing that negotiations have been intense and detailed, with Metcalf and his camp reportedly seeking a contract that reflects his explosive playmaking ability and his value in the modern NFL game. While the Steelers had hoped to retain their star wideout, financial constraints and strategic shifts may have forced their hand. Making way for this surprising development, the Raiders, on the other hand, appear determined to capitalize on this opportunity, seeing Metcalf as the missing piece in their offensive puzzle. Industry insiders speculate that the contract could include not only a substantial base salary, but also performance bonuses and incentives designed to reward his impact on the field. The sheer scale of the offer reportedly outstrips what other teams have been willing or able to provide, suggesting the Raiders are committed to transforming their offense with this acquisition. This rumored deal could redefine the balance of power in the AFC, injecting fresh energy into the Raiders roster and altering the Steelers' offensive outlook drastically, adding fuel to the fire. Speculation has arisen about how this move might affect team dynamics and locker room morale on both sides. Metcalf's departure from the Steelers could leave a significant void, both in terms of production and leadership. Known for his physical dominance and reliable hands, Metcalf has been a favorite target for quarterbacks and a key component in Pittsburgh's aerial attack. His absence might prompt the Steelers to seek reinforcements in the draft or free agency, setting off a chain reaction in the off-season market. Conversely, the Raiders would be welcoming a player whose blend of size, speed, and skill has earned him a reputation as one of the most dangerous receivers in the league. This rumored signing is expected to boost their offensive capabilities and potentially attract other high-profile players looking to join a team with championship ambitions. The conversation around this possible transfer is already shaping expectations for both team strategies going forward, with pundits and fans eager to see how the story unfolds once official announcements are made. Industry analysts are also speculating about the broader implications of such a mega contract in today's NFL economic landscape. Contracts of this magnitude often set new benchmarks for player valuation, influencing future negotiations across the league. If the Raiders are indeed closing in on signing Metcalf to a record-breaking deal, it could trigger a ripple effect in the wide receiver market, prompting other players and agents to seek comparable terms. This potential deal also raises questions about salary cap management and roster construction, as teams must balance star power with depth and flexibility. The Raiders' willingness to invest heavily in Metcalf signals a strategic bet on his ability to deliver consistent elite performance. While the Steelers may face criticism for letting go of a player many consider indispensable, this looming transaction could become a defining moment for both franchises' front offices, shaping their financial strategies and competitive outlooks for years to come. Observers are watching closely to see if this rumored mega contract will be the catalyst for a new era in the NFL's evolving marketplace for talent. Finally, the ripple effects of this potential blockbuster signing extend beyond the field and the locker room, capturing the attention of fans, media, and league officials alike. The excitement around Metcalf possibly joining the Raiders has ignited passionate debates on social media, with supporters envisioning the electric plays and highlight reels that could define his tenure in Las Vegas. Meanwhile, some Steelers fans are grappling with the emotional impact of losing a player who has been a symbol of hope and explosive offense. This rumor also raises questions about the future rivalries and matchups within the AFC, as Metcalf's move could reignite intense competition between these teams. Furthermore, if this deal comes to fruition, it might inspire a wave of similar moves as teams look to shake up their rosters with big-name signings. The timing in terms of this contract negotiation have created a palpable sense of anticipation across the NFL community, setting the stage for what could be one of the most talked-about transactions of the offseason. As the story continues to develop, the football world waits with bated breath for confirmation and the first glimpses of what this seismic shift could mean for the sport's future landscape. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Las Vegas Raiders, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.